Hello, good morning. The clock has struck 7 and you are waking up to Ireland AM. It's Thursday, the 29th of August.
Yeah, super to have you with us. Coming up on the show, could the pension age be set to rise in order to accommodate growing life expectancy? We want to get your opinion on this because, of course, we are living longer. And it is going to put a lot of pressure on the younger generation. 0896 111 111. We're going to be going through that and other stories in the morning's papers.
Talking about 75, lads. More than 56,000 candidates received an offer of a CAO place in the first round of offers yesterday. But what happens next? We will be discussing, and we hope that everyone in your house is doing okay, because we realise what a crazy, stressful time
and if
that
you
it
didn't
is.
get the course that you wanted, you know what, it'll all work out. Plus, we're going to meet the Irish Paralympian on a mission to help visually impaired people get involved in sport. Joe Garrity's going to stop by and chat just before 8.
Yeah, I was watching the opening ceremony last night before I went out, and then I went out and I came home and it was still on. I went out hours later. The French know how to draw something out. Speaking of someone who will just draw something out, no, that doesn't work. She's the best in the world. Brooke Scullion is with us today. Look at her.
I know, I've got massive shoulders on. I'm going to take flight in about approximately 5 seconds. Good morning. Coming up, we will be looking ahead at the best in cinema and streaming this week, including a murder mystery must-watch and a fantasy fan favourite. And in the kitchen, we've got the perfect Italian chicken recipe that'll go with rice or even mash, if Italians do eat mash.
Yeah,
is that a thing?
You would have thought if it was Italians, it would have been pasta would have been in there as well.
Yeah.
But anyway, listen.
Alberto likes to mess it up, you know?
Alberto Rossi can never go wrong with that.
There we go.
Great
Half
to
Irish.
have you with us, Brooke. Thanks so much for that.
Absolutely. Welcome back. Now let's take a look at the front of today's papers. We're going to start with the Irish Times. The headline there: cruel grade inflation criticised by university chiefs. Grade inflation has seriously disadvantaged some students who missed out on their chosen college courses by forcing universities to use lotteries for some entry to some high points courses.
Tusla told foster parents applicants to lose weight. That's the front page of the Irish Independent. It goes on to say the state agency's foster committee told prospective foster parents that they had to lose weight before they could care for a child.
The Examiner leads with online child sextortation case heartbreaking. The Irish Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children has said that society needs to get better at spotting the red flags of online grooming, following the 17-year sentence imposed on a man in Australia for sexual blackmail. He preyed on girls across 20 countries, including Ireland, with the youngest victim just 10 years old.
The Mirror goes with Mobster Rowe was a gang hit suspect. It reports that the Gardaí believe that trusted lieutenant of Liam Rowe was one of the gang that murdered rival Brian Rattigan's brother Joey.
The Star leads with headline: Rowe's hit on King Rat. It references what Gardaí believe was Liam Rowe's part of the hit team that shot and wounded Brian Rattigan in 2002.
The Herald goes with trial date set for Kinahan cartel members. It goes on to say Fat Freddie Thompson has not applied for temporary release from prison to attend his cousin Liam Rowe's funeral in Crumlin.
For something completely different, the front of the Sun: Frank and Walters killed my fish. It continues to say that Noel Gallagher accused Irish rockers Frank and Walters of killing his goldfish. I'm sorry.
And we have to work for even longer is the top story on the Daily Mail. It states that the pension age should be linked with growing life expectancy to pay for the soaring costs of our ageing population. Officials in the Department of Finance have warned.
Now, we're going to be talking about CAO offers, but I think we need to start with the hard-hitting goldfish.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was actually surprised by that, going, sorry, what's going on with the Frank and Walters?
Where are my notes on the goldfish story?
What's going on with...
Why are you making me talk about pensions?
Joined by Hugh O'Connell and Lorcan Nyan. Lads, we need to... I'm sorry,
Well,
now we're not...
Clearly, Oasis should address this before they play in Croke Park
they play in Croke Park.
next year.
You are dead right.
Absolutely.
Dead right.
It's what
That's
we
the
all want
least
to
we
know.
can expect at this
It's
point.
what we all want to know.
We'll get into that in a minute with Coldplay.
Absolutely.
Whose fish have they killed?
Listen, they're not quite at retirement age yet, but it looks like they could be waiting longer for it, though. So the headlines, Daily Mail: we have to work even longer. So the Department of Finance has said to the government that they need to link the pension with our life expectancy. Will they do it?
No, because it's widely politically unpopular to do it. So they definitely won't be doing it anytime soon. I mean, you remember that, in the run-up to the 2020 election, there was that move to move it to 67 and 68. Sinn Féin were against that, and I think that's one of the primary reasons, actually, for Sinn Féin's huge momentum.
Do you think so?
In that campaign. Yeah, in the polls coming out of it, it was maybe the third highest priority issue for people within that election. So they got huge momentum from it. People don't want it. Even young people don't want it when you look at the polling of it. It's least popular with those under 35. I think empathy for those who are older. So it's very politically unpopular, but it's going to have to happen at some point. We have this time bomb of demographics that's coming down the line. We've had 20% less kids in the last decade, 20% fewer kids born. We're living longer, we're getting older, so they're going to have to do something to the pension. It's going to have to increase to at least 70, and there's going to have to be some government that has a huge mandate that uses their first year to tackle it, so people might just take the heat, forget it and move on. So there's going to have to be some majority at some stage that can deal with it.
All of these things are very much tied up because, as you're saying, 20% down in the birth expectancy, but we don't have enough homes for 3 out of the 4 children that are born in this country currently at the moment. So it is all tied up for the future. But let's talk about those demographics, Hugh, a little bit. By 2050, what are we talking about, how people are going to be living?
By 2051, the average age of a man will be 85, the average age of a woman will be 88, and currently I think it's 80 or 84 for a woman and 80 for a man. So life expectancy is going up, and that's and fewer people will be in the workforce by 2050 compared to now. So, but the more people will be at retirement age. So it's this time bomb, as Lorcan says. And successive governments have not grasped the nettle on this and won't. So, for example, there was a pensions commission that was set up by this coalition that produced a report saying that the pension age should gradually increase from 67 in 2031 to 68 by 2039. Government completely ignored it, said we're not going to do that. Instead, we're going to slightly increase PRSI rates to pay for the growing ageing population in this country. So I don't see this issue being tackled by any political party in their next general election manifesto, particularly because, as Lorcan says, it became such a totemic issue in the 2020 election campaign.
Like, if I was looking at this, so back in 1980, the average Irish life expectancy was 72.
Yeah. So,
and the pension was 65.
And don't forget, that's only current estimates. I mean, by the time we get to the end of this decade, expected life expectancy by 2051 could be much higher because of advancements in
science. Why do under 35s not want this when they know that they're going to have to foot this bill?
Because sometimes people don't think as logically as perhaps they should, Tommy.
Well, it is.
For them, it means they have to work even longer.
But we all know we're going to have to work longer because someone is going to have to do it.
Necessarily have
so
to
why don't the government? Why don't all the parties come together and realise this is a big issue? And
cross-party cooperation in this country, I think, in my time covering politics, has been limited to the Sláinte report, a cross-party plan to remove the private health system from the public health system, and that's gone nowhere.
This isn't political. Like, this is actually for the country.
Neither is healthcare, Tony.
But it should be long-term thinking. Where does long-term thinking come into this actually for the betterment of the country?
In democratic societies that work in 5-year electoral cycles, it just doesn't. That's the reality of it.
We've seen this issue basically burn France to the ground numerous times when they talk about.
And it's one of the reasons why Macron has become so unpopular.
Yes.
It's one of the reasons why he lost the recent elections, because he tackled this issue. And people went bananas.
And their pension age is significantly lower than ours is currently anyway. So they're, I think, 62 or 63 is their current pension retirement age in France, and he wants to increase it closer to our level.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's still kind of.
And they came out on the streets over that one. Listen, what do you make of this? We are living longer. There are some people who want to keep on working. There are other people who's like, I have put my time in. I don't want to do this anymore. I have paid my taxes. 0896 111 111, because as you've said, this is a ticking time bomb. So what would you make if we increase the pension age? They're talking about 75 in this as to when they'll increase the pension.
Please do get in touch.
There's loads of grandparents at home going, I'm working hard minding kids. They are working. Do you know what I mean?
Back to work, yeah.
We're moving on to...
There's Tommy just off a month off in the summer.
Yeah, that is bloody work, I tell you. Get me back here.
Oh my God. We're going to move on to something that... This is in the Irish Independent today, and it's about TUSLA and foster parents. Can you tell us about this, Hugh?
Yeah, it's a story by Ellen Coyne, and it's basically saying that TUSLA has told prospective foster parents that they have to lose weight before they would be allowed to care for a child. And it cites one particular case where a woman was effectively refused the opportunity to foster solely off the basis of her BMI. Now, BMI is in some quarters seen as a very outdated way of measuring someone's health. And so this woman, interestingly, told Ellen Coyne that while she didn't have an issue with being asked about her weight, she didn't like the fact that it was that the decision by Tusla's foster care committee was based solely around the BMI issue and her BMI of, I think, 35 plus, which I think is seen as obese. Yeah. So Tusla, this guidance that Tusla based their decision off is from 2017. That's 7 years ago. They said their guidance is currently under review, and I think they're making the point that they have to stick to this guidance in order to make decisions and to codify their decision making. But clearly, this is it's a very interesting story, I think, and it shows particularly. When Tusla's crying out for foster care families, that the decision is.
So they're calling out for foster families.
Yeah, there's a huge shortage, and so when they're making decisions like this, it does call into question the guidelines that they have in place at the moment. Maybe they do need to be updated.
Anecdotal evidence that something was said about not being able to run around after a little child.
Yeah, that's particularly not very nice thing to say.
That you wouldn't be able to run after a toddler, I think, is the quote that was used on a video call. They never met in person. This is the first time meeting, and that's the thing that was made. It flags a couple of different things, okay? Number one, BMI, for the most part, has been said, look, it's not a good metric. So if it's your single metric, it shouldn't be the metric. One of the US rugby sevens with women's players went viral. Lone Manor went viral saying, I've got a BMI of 30.
I was technically obese on the BMI scale because it matches the height and mass, and obviously
and the muscle, etc. Muscle-bound men like Tommy would be into that.
You can't run after a toddler either. With my knees.
But why are Tusla using outdated? Their own policy was outdated, and they used their own outdated policy, but even BMI as a metric. So Tusla shouldn't be using one metric anyway, and then they shouldn't be using outdated metrics. It then also brings, I think, the wider issue of, look, BMI is a flawed policy, but like the foster system is absolutely creaking. If you look at the courts, etc., there's kids being left in a situation they shouldn't be in because we don't have foster families. Yes, look at the health, but it should only be one metric, even if people are obese, all right? But there are other things you need.
The areas
they need to have some
say
things you look at. You need to look at it, in the totality of it holistically. I mean, about nurturing a child, educating
this is probably
the child.
one of the reasons.
That's not what this story is telling us, though, Tommy. It's saying that it's if you were over 35, is it BMI of 35? No,
gone
until you're gone. So whatever. Look at loads of different metrics, but you have to look at it in balance because there's lots of people. And also, I'm sorry, look, 23% of this country are obese, but by the rate. So are we saying 23% of the country can't be parents, can't raise kids, can't nurture, can't educate?
There's lots of reasons why parents can't run after toddlers. It's not all related to their weight.
No, absolutely. And we'd love to hear from you on this. This is Ellen Coyne's story today in the Irish Independent. Tusla told foster parents applicants to lose weight. They told one woman that she wouldn't be able to run around after a toddler. 0896 111 111. We'd love to hear from you.
And to be fair to the BMI of over 35, it's grade 2 obese. It goes from grade 1, 2 and 3. So I mean,
there's a lot.
Let's talk about this quickly as well. Coldplay are playing tonight, a mega couple of gigs in Croke Park, but they were playing on Grafton Street. If you couldn't get a ticket to Croke Park, you were able to see it in Grafton Street.
They're in Grafton Street last night. Crowd started building from 6:30. He appeared at 8:30.
He appeared.
Good news story.
How did they know?
Lovely moment. It leaked out. But then he went on. He played the new single 3 times and left. I'm like, I'm sorry, Chris. Nobody's there for the new single.
But they had to because they're filming a video. We'll all be delighted when you see your face in the video.
But
you're
would
10
he
rows
not
back.
have thrown a bone to the crowd after doing the same song 3 times and throw it one of the actual
Give him a bit of yellow.
You want to give him a yellow clock sign, whatever, something. Something people could sing along to and actually enjoy.
And then he ran into the Fitzwilliam Hotel, and they had to keep all the crowds from going in.
The lads at the front of the Fitzwilliam had to stop thousands of people.
Did he get out of there?
Yeah,
Fair play
it
to
seems
them.
it was pretty chaotic, but 4 nights, Croke Park.
Huge gig.
Huge
Huge.
gig.
I mean, all the talk about Taylor Swift, this is more people are going to Coldplay, which is
tomorrow night,
massive.
very, very excited. I assume he won't just play the new single on a loop because I won't know it.
I saw them last year. They are not my favourite band, but they put on a great show.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
We're available this weekend. If you want to take a couple
I'll
of
be
TV
there.
Definitely looking for
presenters.
tickets.
Hugh, of course.
Hugh's there.
Hugh O'Connell from the Sunday Times, thanks so much for
Thanks
joining
so
us.
much.
Larkin Nine Communications.
Thanks
Great
so
to have you
much,
both
guys.
with us.
Lovely to have you.
0896 111 111. We'd love to hear from you on any of the stories.
We would. And coming up, we are going to be talking about CAO offers as we've seen there's a big issue with grade inflation.
Absolutely. Lots of that coming up after the break. You're very welcome back. Now, yesterday, the first round CAO offers were released. 57% of students were offered their first level 8 choice, but there'll also be people who are very unhappy with their offers and might be unsure of what happens next.
This morning, it's been reported that grade inflation has seen some students lose out on college courses by forcing universities to use lotteries for entry points to some high points courses. That's the front page of the Irish Times this morning.
Yeah, join us with this is CAO-centred advice is guidance counsellor Betty McLaughlin. Good morning to you, Betty.
Morning,
Great
Betty.
to have you with us. Listen, we'll get to that story at the front of the Irish Independent about people who've missed out on their courses. We've seen grade inflation again, though, this year.
Yes.
It was told that it looked like it was going to be dropped down. What was the level of grade inflation this year?
The level of grade inflation is that students with the points that they needed for their course on 20 courses, which is quite a number, they actually didn't get their course because of lottery. So, in other words, they had the points to get in, but they didn't get their place because there was too many on the same points. So then it's a random selection. They're given a number, and it's similar to a lottery.
Genuinely, a college is just putting CAO numbers into a hat and picking them out and going, they get the course.
That's it. You see, there are always you will find for the most the most popular courses, the number of places is exceeded by the number of applicants. So that's why it is such a cruel competition in ways. Very cruel for those who are caught now on that, say, the random selection situation. But then again, there are 4 in 5, candidates who have actually succeeded in getting one of their top 3, and almost 55% have got their first choice. So there are good news stories out there as well.
Some fantastic news stories and some unbelievable points being scored by so many students over there. But you can just imagine the frustration that you put in so much hard work and you're top of the class and you go into a lottery whether you get into the course. And I mean, this comes back to the Minister for Education, Norma Foley, who has promised to reduce grade inflation, but yet again. Yeah,
she's on a tightrope in that she has promised to reduce them, but at the same time, she's trying to keep a level playing field, you see, for people who were given predicted grades, which were hugely inflated by 10%. We're down to about a 7% inflation now, but it's trying to keep, if people apply who did their Leaving Cert, which there are a number of. There's about 19,000 who didn't do their Leaving Cert this year, who are still applying to the CAO, and they would have been then having more points, would have really disadvantaged this year's students. So it really is quite a mess to be sorted and upsetting for many.
And we are going to go on to what people can do right now, but just very quickly, because colleges have come out incredibly strongly about grade inflation, saying this has to stop. People are not ready for what they're doing when they get to college because their grades have been inflated too much.
Yes, absolutely. And, the highest educators in the country, professors, they are all asking for this to be reviewed as soon as possible.
OK, so if a student did get the results and they're not happy with what their offer is, what should they do?
Well, first of all, talk to your guidance counsellor, or there is also the National Parents Helpline, which is there, 1-800-265-165. That will be going ahead until next Friday. So please do ring them. You will meet a guidance counsellor there who will tell you. But also, if you have got a course that you are reasonably happy with, that would get you to where you want, or eventually, it is worth considering accepting that course.
So you think take the second best option instead of hanging out for the best?
Well, absolutely. If they've made a good strategic application, they will have covered themselves. They will have said, look, this is my dream course, but if I don't get it, here's my other avenue into it, and I might do a postgraduate in that course to get me the career of my choice.
OK, because there's a lot, like if you didn't get offered your top level 8 course, but you were offered kind of the equivalent in a level 7.
Yes.
What do you think people should be doing?
Well, I would say if it's going to get you to the career path that you want to go to, if you're sure you're interested, if the modules you would be studying excite you, why not go for it?
What about if you're appealing?
Yes,
results.
if you're appealing,
Is that common?
It is very common indeed. But first of all, the first thing you do if
I
you're
wanted
appealing,
to do that with my results, but I got told to wise up.
Okay, well, the good, probably because the good thing about our system is it's extremely transparent and accountable. You view your script, you can appeal, you can apply to the school, which you need to do, and ask to view your script so you can see where you got your marks, where you lost your marks, and see if there was any human error, any miscalculation, and if you think you have a chance of an upgrade. So then you apply to have the appeal. But I would say absolutely view that script first. You pay €40 for the appeal. If you're upgraded, you get your €40 back plus your upgrade. But if not, you lose your €40 and you're putting yourself through the reassessment again, maybe for no good reason.
Yeah,
you know.
I always thought they'd put me down a grade if I'd gone back to appeal. I was always worried about that.
Further to go down.
So if you've, as you mentioned there's 19,000 people who are in this pot. They have either deferred a course or whatever.
Yes.
Not deferred, they've decided to go back in. If you want to defer a course, if you're like, I want to take a year, what do you do?
If you want to defer a course, it's very important that you do not accept your CAO offer online through the CAO. You immediately email the admissions office of the college in question and you seek permission to defer. Now, you give your reason why you're deferring. Mostly, they're very willing to hold that place for you for the year. In some cases, they may refuse. They can. They have the autonomy on this. But what you do is you email the accommodations or email the admissions office straight away and they will get back to you then.
Okay, you're a guidance counsellor, and this is obviously all about CAO points and mainly universities. What about apprenticeships?
Apprenticeships is absolutely amazing. There's a huge uptake now. There are more apprenticeships and more avenues available for students than ever. There are constantly
more opportunities, jobs-wise as well.
You can make a very good living with the different trades, or there are lots of blue-collar apprenticeships as well now. Accountancy is an apprenticeship, engineering is an apprenticeship.
Are the requirements difficult though?
They're not, no. If you have, you are really just your leaving cert is brilliant if you have it. Some people can actually take on an apprenticeship even after their junior cert,
Yeah.
So,
would it be something like you would encourage for parents, for instance, if their son or daughter, their exam results did or didn't go as planned?
100%. And even if you say you wanted to do accountancy in college, you can do accountancy, you can do your degree, but you could also go in and learn and study and be making 22,000 a year with the Accounting Technicians of Ireland and get right up to chartered
they used to do it.
Yes.
Wow. They used to do it like that
They
in
used
Ireland,
to, absolutely, and that is growing in popularity because you've no fees.
Used to that as well, potentially too. So
they did.
Tell me, Susie grants quickly, are they still open?
You can still apply for your Susie grant. You may get it a little bit later than the others who have applied before you, but if you're entitled to it, it's means tested, you will still receive it.
Yeah, log on, you'll be able to. So get on Susie. What's
Absolutely.
the website?
Susie.ie.
That's it. It's that simple.
And they're very helpful. There's a very good helpline there. And also that National Parents Helpline will guide you through the process as well.
Okay, that is 1800 265 165 0896 111 111. I'm throwing loads of numbers at you like a maths exam. If you want to get in contact, we hope everyone in your house is
or if
doing
you didn't
okay.
get into the course, or if you did get top grades and you went into that lottery, how frustrated are you?
More than that, Betty McLaughlin, guidance counsellor. Busy day for you, so thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much.
Appreciate it, Betty.
Thank
you
you
so much. Now, coming up, Paralympian Joe Geraghty talks competing internationally and inspiring other athletes. We'll see you here after the break.
Welcome back. Now, the Paralympics started last night, and after such an incredible opening ceremony, we thought it was only right to catch up with one of Ireland's former athletes.
Yes, here to tell us about his new book about the lives of blind and vision-impaired sports people. It is Joe Geraghty. Joe, good morning to you. Congratulations on your new book. It is called Out of Sight. But first of all, I have to ask you about your experience of the Paralympics, because you were there, you represented Ireland in a middle distance runner back in 1984. What was your experience compared to what we're seeing nowadays?
Oh, a world away from where we are today. It was in its early days of development. So we travelled over to, it was New York, believe it or
Not
not,
so
in
bad.
84. And we, no, it was great in New York, but it was just, we arrived over and we were wearing different shades of green. We called ourselves a 40 Shades of Green team because we had different governing bodies. There was no Paralympics Ireland back then. But we had to raise the money. I think we raised about $500,000 in today's currency to get there, you know?
So you were working full time at the time and had to
I was a telephone operator, believe it or not. I ended up years later, of course, in other civil service work, which was kind of senior database administration. But yeah, back then I worked on switchboards, and it wasn't strenuous, but it meant that I had very little time to train. You know, getting up at 5 in the morning to run, and then getting back out in the evening and covering 100 miles a week and then also fundraising.
It's actually hard to put that into perspective because obviously our Irish team did unbelievable in the Olympics this year. The Paralympics is getting bigger and bigger every year. And I guess for you as a Paralympian at the time and vision impaired people at that time, was it looked at, do you think there was a lot of awareness about it or people knew what, like the amount of work that went into it?
Oh, look, there was no media or Irish media in New York for us. There was no Virgin Media back then. In fact, there wasn't even breakfast TV anywhere in Ireland until a month or two after we came back. It was a different world. And there was, OK, we have a long way to go on awareness yet, and that's what the book is about. But back then, there was also grave misunderstandings of what we were doing. Sponsors wouldn't link in with us because they felt they were exploiting people with disability. Nowadays, that doesn't matter at all.
No,
you know.
no, now sponsors, you know, it's great to be involved in it as well. OK, well, listen, tell us about the new book. It is Out of Sight, Stories of Ireland's Blind and Vision Impaired Sports People. Is it your story? Is it talking to other athletes who are at the Paralympics, or how have you done it?
I'm like the ref, OK, and I'm on the sideline, kind of trying to conduct an affairs. But no, it's not my story. You'll find a bit of my story, and you get little bits, like, but not telling you everything. That's for another day.
You must have spoken to Jason Smith.
Oh, Jason was brilliant. Like, Jason, 21 gold medals and a phenomenon and a good friend of mine. And Jason, he bookends it because he actually does the introduction, and then I have a final one. So every chapter is called after a song, and the final chapter is called After the Gold Rush. So you can guess what that's about. And he's specifically talking about awareness.
And Jason Smith, an incredible athlete. I've met him a couple of times.
Yeah.
Was it 21 gold medals?
21 gold medals, including 6 Paralympic golds. And he would have had more Paralympic golds, but he for various reasons.
Is he the fastest ever?
Well, he was he's fastest ever Paralympian. He's totally unbeaten at Paralympic sports.
I mean,
he was also 3 times a national champion at able-bodied sports.
Exactly. His time in the 100 metres.
10.18 seconds.
Look, I was lucky enough to meet Jason last year. Obviously, he won Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah.
But that performance as a whole did massive things for, you know, vision impaired. And this book is going to even bring that further along. Are you the president of Vision Impaired?
Yes, I am. I'm the president of the governing body. So when Tommy's president of IRFU, I've beaten you to it, Tommy, because I'm the president of Vision Sports Ireland.
You have, well done. Always first to everything as well. Why did you do the book?
I was thinking of, this is the first time a book like this has ever been written, and I was thinking of my colleagues and people who helped build the sport over the years who've never been acknowledged. I was also looking to the present and hoping that we could help, that if you had a child or if you maybe an uncle, a relation or whatever, that you would actually see something in this book that would say, do you know, my uncle played golf and he gave it up because he'd failed in eyesight. Look, you know, now I see in this book, it's dead easy to play. You know, just a few little modifications. Have a guide with you who's your caddy as well. Yeah. And away you go. You know, so I kind of felt that, and equally so with, you know, say the children, just to build it for them. But looking to the future, we've a long way to go. We've come a long way since 1984. Yeah. But we've a long way to go to build the awareness. Some will come this week through the Paralympic Games, but I think this book will help as well in getting us there.
It's interesting because yes, there has been so much done already and there's been a lot of advancement so far, but to create change, education is necessary. So I guess that this book, as if you haven't done enough already, this is going to help a lot of parents and a lot of people to navigate sports for their kids, and it's a brilliant thing that you've done, so congratulations.
Thank you. No, education is key to this, right? And I mean, other people can talk about that. I'm not an educator, but education absolutely key. You have it spot on. If we can get into the primary school curriculum about understanding each other's, whether it's back pain or, you know, a physical disability that's very obvious, yeah, it's key. It's absolutely key that people get to understand each other. And that's probably where the education is needed. And that will benefit everybody.
How happy are you to see with the support the Paralympics is getting? Because, as you mentioned, back in 1984, sponsors were running a mile. Are you proud to be a Paralympian, having represented your country? I'm sure you were back then, but it must have changed a lot.
We didn't know we were Paralympians, really. We were, and we came back, and we did get a little bit of media coverage for what we achieved. But it's only in the last, since London 2012, that people are now coming and say, "Joe, you're a Paralympian," and I'm saying, "Oh, really?" You know, because it's come a long way. I think in terms of funding and that, every sport will seek more funding than we got last year, and we are behind some of the bigger countries for sure. But look, Sport Ireland, everybody in the field would love more money, and they'd love to help more, and so would we love to help more.
Even just reading the statistics here, there's around 300 people report blindness or vision impairment in Ireland. Of that number, 70,000 people have difficulty leaving home.
Correct, and that's a shocker.
Yeah.
And in fact, when you consider, you add into that then other household things like just trying to maybe cook a turkey or something like that.
Yeah.
There's many more people.
Well, that's it. And
yeah.
You have less than 10% vision, but so many people wouldn't even think that you have any problem. So what you're doing today and highlighting it through this book and everything around the Paralympics is just absolutely fantastic. Listen,
absolute pleasure having you here.
Joe Garrity, thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Now, Joe's book is Out of Sight. It's called Out of Sight, and it's available in bookshops right now across the country. Visit outofsight.ie for a full list of retailers.
Yes, lots more still to come here on Ireland Day, and we'll see you back after this short break. Hello, a very good morning. You are tuned into Ireland Day. It's coming up on 8 o'clock, I think, on Thursday, the 29th of August. Thanks for joining us this morning.
He's doing, he loves a time check, so he does. Coming up, we're going to be speaking to influencer Rachel Gary about a cause that is very, very close to her heart. That's about 8:15 this morning.
Also, after 9 o'clock, we're talking to sex historian,
yes,
Esme Louise, who's going to take us through the changing attitudes towards intimacy through the ages.
I wonder what point she needed in the CAO to get that. Where is the sex historian course?
That one.
And we'll be taking a closer look at the best in movies and streaming and telly, including a return to Middle Earth and a star-studded murder mystery.
And now Brooke is here and she's looking after our bellies this morning. What's on the menu, Brooke?
That is right. Good morning. Alberto Rossi has full charge of the kitchen today. What are we making?
We are doing chicken with lemon. Brooke, we call it scaloppini al limone. Sounds much better in Italian. Al limone.
That sounds
so nice, easy chicken and lemon. So very easy, very nice. Still summer.
I've been up since 2:30, so this is like lunch, a good lunchtime.
It's going to be a good breakfast / lunch.
So excited
very
for that.
Good, very good.
Oh,
very
Alberto,
good.
I cannot wait for that because I thought it was going to be, what do you call it?
Scaloppini ai funghi.
Ai funghi.
Mushrooms.
I was told it's going to be mushrooms.
Mushrooms.
So no, lemon is much better. Thank you so much for that. Looking
now,
forward
mind
to
your
it.
one up at 2:30. He's going, now come here, there's no mushrooms, is it?
I know.
To mind Brooke.
I know, and I fell down the stairs at 2:37.
And just to let you know, she has been checking her bum to see if there's a bruise.
There's no bruises, no one cares.
No.
We'll go to that later.
2:37, guys. Everyone remember that. Auspicious time for our Brooke. Thank you so much, guys. Looking forward to that. Now it's time to take a look at the front of today's papers. We're going to start with the Irish Times, the headline there. Cruel grade inflation criticised by university chiefs. Grade inflation has seriously disadvantaged some students who missed out on their chosen college courses by forcing universities to use lotteries for entry to some high points courses.
TUSLA told foster parent applicants to lose weight. That is the front page of the Irish Independent. It goes on to say that the state agency's foster committee told prospective foster parents that they had to lose weight before they could care for a child.
The Examiner's front page, online child sextortation case heartbreaking. The Irish Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Children has said that society needs to get better at spotting the red flags of online grooming following the 17-year sentence imposed on a man in Australia for sexual blackmail amongst women around the world and girls in 20 countries, with the youngest victim just 10 years old.
Mirror goes with Mobster Rowe was gang hit suspect. It reports a Gardaí believe that trusted lieutenant of Liam Byrne, Liam Rowe, was one of the gang that murdered rival Brian Rattigan's brother, Joey.
The Star's front page, Rowe's hit on King Rat. It references what Gardaí believe was Liam Rowe's part of the hit team that shot and wounded Brian Rattigan back in 2002.
The Herald goes with trial date set for Kinahan cartel members. It goes on to say Fat Freddie Thompson has not applied for temporary release from prison to attend his cousin Liam Rowe's funeral in Crumlin.
Now, something completely different on the front of the Sun. Franken Walters killed my fish. It continues to say that Noel Gallagher accused Irish rockers, the Franken Walters, of killing his goldfish.
And we have to work for even longer is the top story on the Daily Mail. It states that the pension aid should be linked with growing life expectancy to pay for the soaring cost of our ageing populations. That's according to officials in the Department of Finance.
There are so many messages coming in on that pension age. We're going to get to it in just a little while.
We will get to that before the news at past. But coming up next, influencer Rachel Gorry is going to talk to us about a cause very close to her heart. We're going to be catching up with her after this break. Welcome back to Ireland M. Now, our next guest tragically lost her husband to illness when they were both just 29 and has dedicated the year since his passing to raising awareness around cancer care.
Here to share her story is Rachel Gorry alongside Irish Cancer Society night nurse Anne-Marie Ward. Thank you both so much for being here. We really appreciate it. And Anne-Marie, we're going to get to the important work that you do very shortly, because I think there's a lot of people watching now who have had Irish Cancer Society night nurses in their home. But Rachel, you had a night nurse in your home for your husband when you were far too young.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, that's right.
For anyone who might not know, can you please tell us about Daniel?
Yeah, so my husband Daniel was diagnosed with esophageal cancer when he was 27, and it was a terminal diagnosis from the beginning. He passed then at the age of 29, and Daniel didn't want to pass away in hospital. He wanted to pass away at home with me and our 3 children. So only for the work that Anne-Marie does, that wouldn't have been made possible. So we're here to raise funds for that.
You had 3 young girls,
We did, yeah.
Happily married,
Yeah.
off on holidays in Portugal with what you thought was just a gut infection.
Gut infection, yeah. We just thought he'd like acid reflux. I started to get a little bit of stomach pain. Just, you have a gut infection, take your antibiotics, he'll be fine. We were on the second day on holidays in Portugal, and he started passing blood. We were straight into the hospital, and he needed a blood transfusion. So they put the camera down and said, we see a tumour, like you've got cancer, but we can't take a biopsy because we need to stop the bleeding, or you'll die if we don't. So they kept us there for 8 days. He got 2 blood transfusions, then they let us go home straight to the hospital, and Daniel was diagnosed with cancer.
And from then on,
cancer, yeah.
for 2 years, essentially, not
Yeah.
quite 2 years.
Yeah, the 18 months, yeah.
The 18 months. Your 3 little girls.
Yeah.
With your husband, Daniel.
Yeah.
You just tried to fill it with memories, time, do as much
Absolutely.
as you could.
Yeah.
And he really did kind of go for it, didn't he?
Oh, he absolutely did, yeah.
Yeah.
He was amazing, yeah. We made so many memories. Like, it wasn't all doom and gloom, and I know that sounds so strange because he was terminal, he was dying, but we had good times and good memories, and he had a great sense of humour around the fact that he was going to die. I know that sounds awful, but he took it in stride, and, you know, obviously there was bad days, but we made the most of the time that we had left.
I have 2 kids, similar ages they probably would have been at the time. How do you talk to them? How do you tell them that their dad is dying?
It's very difficult. I suppose we had them in therapy, and they helped to describe things to them, and they couldn't understand, well, if Daddy's getting medicine, because we told him Daddy gets medicine because his hair fell out, and that was a bit of a strange one for them. So we basically said, how come he's not getting better if he's getting medicine? So the way they told us to describe it to the girls was they filled a room full of bubbles, and they gave them a sword and said, now, the bubbles are all Daddy's cancer cells, and you have to get the sword and you have to get all the bubbles. So they had like a timer. The timer went off, they couldn't get the bubbles. So when it came to the time when Leah, she was 9 at the time, she said, is Daddy going to die? And we said, yeah, look, Daddy's going to die. And she said, So is the sword not getting all the bubbles? And I said, no, the sword can't get the bubbles. So she understood, in her little head, she was able to wrap her head around the fact that, okay, that's why.
Isn't that wonderful?
Yeah, it is.
To put it on such a level that children can understand
and
it.
she could understand then. She knew then what was happening. The other two were a little bit too small to...
I have to say, I've got huge admiration for you because of being so young with 3 young kids, but not just that, how you've kind of come to it. Because anyone who's gone through it, who's had an illness in their family, they know that you have to find the light, you have to find the funny.
Oh, you have to.
You have to, and then you've got to keep on going.
Yes, absolutely.
But he wanted to be at home, as you mentioned.
He did want to be at home, yeah.
So important that he was there with his family.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where the night nurses came in.
That's exactly it, yeah.
So they came into your home.
They
For
came
how long
into
were
the
they
home.
there?
They might have been there for over a week. It wasn't quite 2 weeks that he was there in the sitting room, and I can't tell you the sense of calm that they bring, because you do kind of panic a little bit when you don't know. I remember Daniel projectile vomited all this black tar one day, and it was kind of like the organs shutting down and the fact of the type of cancer that he had, and I didn't know what this was, and it was all over me, and I just ran for the nut, and the sense of calm that Marine, they just come in and it's okay, and they explain what's happening, and then it makes a situation that's absolutely awful calm. And even with Daniel's last moments, his breathing changed and I was starting to panic. I didn't know. Oh my God, I said to his ma, go get the nurse. And she came in and she says, yeah, it's going to happen now. And she was rubbing my back and she was like, it's okay. And this is going to sound so strange, but it was actually such a lovely, peaceful moment, the moment that he passed away. And I know that sounds a bit weird, but it was. And it's all because of the nurses and the calm, and she explained what was going to happen. Whereas I think I had a sense of panic. Oh my God, this is going to happen, and is he going to be in pain and whatever. But it was a beautiful moment.
Unbelievable.
Gorgeous.
Anne-Marie, you're one of these night nurses. Like, how important is it for cancer patients to receive at-home care?
It's very, very important, Tommy. It really, really is, because it can be the difference between a really chaotic, stressful situation and a calm. You know, we go in, and although empathy and understanding is very, very important in our job, but as nurses we must remain competent and professional. So we will go in, explain the situation, calm the situation down. The families do a fantastic job because they choose to have their loved one at home, but they cannot administer the medication. There's things like, you know, different repositioning of the patient, there's wounds, there's drains. Generally speaking, they're in a hospital bed and it's set up really, really well. Mm-hmm. But we can go in, we're in the background, we're not intrusive, we're in the background, and if we're needed, we're there. But certainly a good night's sleep for the likes of Rachel and her family is very, very, because people can't go 24/7. You can't go on empty. Mm-hmm. So if we go in, if they're stable enough, have a good night's sleep. I'll certainly call you if there's any change. Mm. There's nothing nicer for me in the morning at 7 for fresh-faced coming down, because it's a tough couple of days for them. Yeah. So they can come down and face into the day. I often drive away and go, I'm driving home now. I'm going to go maybe play a game of tennis or go visit my mother or whatever. They have a day ahead of them. Yeah. You know, and really and truly, like, you know, it's a very rewarding job for us. Very, very rewarding, that I can utilise my profession as a nurse to help people at a most vulnerable time.
And I think for anyone, like, if you've got an experience of an Irish Cancer Society night nurse, you know what it is. Because you come,
had it.
Well, you come into the house and people you might never have met before who are at the end of their tether, and it's such a horrible thing, and you calm everything down. It's like you're dispersing secret agents around the place, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you're so, honestly, I cannot say enough about the night nurses. You're unbelievable. But you're also like, you can tell the future. You know what's happening. Yeah. Like, I remember the night nurse going...
To a point, we're not psychic now.
Well, you are, but you can tell. I remember a night nurse coming back
best.
and being like, there was there for when Dad passed, you know, kind of knew. So it's an emotional drain that you go through on behalf of a family.
It is, yeah. I mean, I couldn't do this job if my thoughts were centred around my own emotions. So, you know, we have to go in with a level of detachment, certainly huge empathy and understanding, but we have to be there. You know, me going in falling to pieces is no help to anyone. Absolutely not. So when we do go in, you know, we do say, right, okay, calm the situation, look at the patient is foremost. Pain relief, anxiety, that's at the forefront of our job. And then that the family get a well-deserved, a well-needed break.
An incredible job that you do as well, and just putting so many people at ease. Listen, there's the Boots Night Walk coming up on the 10th of September. It is to raise funds for the Irish Cancer Society's night nursing service. Yeah. How are those funds from this walk?
It's a fantastic walk. Now, Boots have been fantastic. We partnered up with them in the Irish Cancer Society Night Nursing in 2012. To date, they've raised 3.3 million, which gives over 9,000 nights of night nursing. For people nationwide. It's a nationwide service. We have 200 nurses plus around the country. And we do the nights. The night walk is on the 10th of September. You can sign up to it at bootsnightwalk.com. And you can also get a tag here as well if you want to just any Boots store nationwide and just put your loved one's name into it. But sign up for it's only 3.5 kilometres, so it's nothing. Muireann and I did it before. And it is.
You're able to do it.
And this year's really is going to be really lovely because the Dublin Gospel Choir are singing at it, so it should be fun.
Well, you can do it around the country and you can sign up, but it's important to say you take so much stress off the system because people are not in hospitals, they're able to diet. It's amazing what you do
in
for
their
the
own
HSE.
home, in their own environment. Yeah.
Rachel, for you,
Yeah.
because obviously you're a mum, you're moving on with your life, but Daniel's such a huge part. Of course he is.
Oh, yeah.
He's a huge part of
absolutely.
your life. He's your husband.
Every day.
Every single day he's present for you.
Yeah.
So being involved, like getting to do things like this, having first-hand experience, it must be amazing because you've got a platform.
Yeah. Well, see, it is, and then you can speak about your experiences, and I think then it puts other people at ease, and then you know, okay, like I wouldn't have known even about the night nursing service myself. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I think if someone else is going through something similar, you know, okay, I have got this service that can come in and that can do these things. So I think and then the funding obviously is absolutely vital.
Yeah.
And quickly, Anne-Marie, what advice would you have for people who might be in a situation at the minute we're not sure what to do?
We're not sure what to do is if they do want to have their loved one at home, which is lovely. It is lovely, but you know it is a very, very difficult time. And we as nurses, we were lone workers, so we need the family on board. So if the family are on board to help us, I mean, there are day teams going in. There's public health nurses, and then we're going in at night. But if they are deciding yes, then they need to be on board for everything that it involves. And we are there. We are there at night, and we will go in at night, and we will give them the well-deserved break, and we will look after their loved one. So if they do want, the service is very much available.
It's amazing. And well done, Rachel, because I know you put yourself out there, and abuse comes your way all the time.
Yeah.
And how are you doing? You good?
I'm good. Yeah.
You're good.
Thank you. Yeah.
Fair play to you. It's brilliant. Anne-Marie Ward, Irish Cancer Society night nurse. Well done for all the work that you do, and Rachel Gary, of course. Thank you for coming.
And of course, do check it out, bootsnightwalk.com, or buy an honour tag for €3 in any Boots.
Yeah, it's brilliant. We're going to take a very quick break. Lots more still to come between now and 10. Back with you very shortly on Ireland Day.
Good morning, you are very welcome back. Now we are going to go through a few of your text messages, particularly around this at the front of the Daily Mail. We have to work even for even longer. So they're saying that the Department of Finance have said that the government have to link the pension with life expectancy, and we of course are living a lot longer.
Brooke is going to be shaking her stuff on stage until she's 110.
Do you know what? Dolly Parton's doing it.
Dolly Parton is
Dolly Parton's doing it. I'm going to try and do it.
But listen, back in the 1980s, the pension age, you got your pension at 65.
Yeah.
We're now in 2024. You live at least, I think the expectancy is a good 20 years
It was
later.
72 back then, and now we're getting up to 85 and 88 for women.
So, and the pension age is pretty much still around the same age. So anyway, text messages coming through, no surprise. Brendan says, I think most people want to retire as early as they can, but it can depend on their financial circumstances. It also depends on what type of work they are doing. For me personally, I was in a position to retire earlier and have never regretted it.
Fair play.
There you go. See, people maybe don't want to stop, but...
And if they have their private pension, fair enough to take a bit earlier.
Yeah, that's true. Colette said, having worked over 45 years and getting near the pension age, I think it's disgraceful to even consider putting penalties on the likes of me being allowed to retire at 67.
45 years, it's a lot. Sometimes you're done.
But you're going to live for another 20, 30 years.
But it should be your decision. It should be your decision, I guess.
The state pension, though, we're running out of people to pay for it.
Yeah, I feel the age for retirement is too high. I myself work as an SNA, and we work extremely hard. I'm 51 now and in good health, but I can't see myself or my colleagues making it to retirement age because of injuries, illnesses, and not being able to keep up with the fast pace of work. Some bodies can keep on going. 089 6 111
Huge amount of texts on this
loads
as
of messages.
well.
We're going to get to more of them in just a little while.
You're very welcome back. Now, we know it's only Thursday, but don't tell the bosses. We're on a slowdown to the weekend and we've got the perfect meal if you fancy a sneaky glass of white with your dinner.
That's it.
So,
There you go. Alberto
glasses.
Rossi is here and there's chicken on the menu.
I do, and I always show up with a bottle of white wine.
Is white goes with chicken? Do you
Well,
know
in this case, yes, because we use also the same wine to deglaze a little bit of the chicken, so the flavors
You have
work
to drink
together.
it then.
Yeah.
You have
Or
to.
you can
Always a
even
bottle of
have
wine
to
with
drink
no
it.
glasses.
imagine. No, but you can also have like a light red wine. You know, I'm sure that wine experts will tell you more. You know.
Before we start, I have to
Yes.
mention the T-shirt, the
Fab.
Beatles.
Oh
it's
my God,
Coldplay.
yes.
It's all about Coldplay.
I know. I'm sorry, but I'm all style.
Would you?
know?
Are you more into the? Are you Beatles? Obviously,
I'm
big Beatles
Beatles,
fan.
yeah, big
Coldplay
Beatles.
too, or?
I like Coldplay too. You
Okay.
know? Now I have to say I haven't bought the last CD, so mea
Okay.
culpa, you know. But
Anyway,
know.
listen. Let's crack on.
So we have on the heat here a nice pan. Okay, you want the pan always to be warm to start with when you're cooking meat and everything like this.
Okay.
Because otherwise your meat will always stick to the bottom of the pan, and then you're there scraping like a lunatic for 20
Oh, is
minutes.
that why
after.
it sticks? 'Cause
Yeah,
it's not hot
sometimes
enough?
it's not hot enough. So you need to have the pan nice and hot, and it's not that you need to put your finger in to check that it's hot.
No,
you
just
can
know.
just
So how do you check then?
either you put your hand on it like this and you feel the heat, or when you put the oil down, it starts to be running very liquidy.
Okay.
You know, so that means that it's warm enough. You know, you can start to see like that. And what we have is we have chicken breast, obviously without the skin. And what I did, I just sliced it enough by the lens so it's a little bit thinner. And then I beat it a little bit with my hammer, with my weapon.
Yeah.
You know, it's just to make it that it's all the same size. Because sometimes when you cut the chicken, you have the end of the fillet a little bit thin.
Yeah.
And the top where the, you know, where the big breast
Do you
is.
cut off all the bits?
Well, I try, but you know, with chicken, it's not that you have veins
Yeah.
and
Okay.
red tissue and everything. Like people say, oh, I don't eat that, you know.
The white
chicken,
bits,
yeah,
just
the white bit, a little, but it's just a little bit of fat, you know.
Okay.
It's not.
Oh, that's fine
It's
then. I
not. It's
never
not
knew
bad
what that
stuff.
was.
Now the pan is nice and hot.
Yes.
What I'll do is reduce a little bit so I won't burn it, and then so these are the chicken, and you just dust it in the flour a little bit, okay?
Why?
So the flour will help make your sauce nice and thick when you finish it, okay? Okay? And it also will keep the meat nice and tender.
Look at how thin that chicken is.
That's pretty fabulous.
It is, and you can go to the butcher and at the counter you can ask if he could split for you, please, the chicken. It's not that you have to try and not to cut your hand at all, you know, like nowadays.
I live in London, so I don't think they'll be doing anything like that. We're behind the...
But they're like chicken steaks.
Exactly,
almost, aren't they? They're
very,
like
very light. So
thin.
you're
Yeah.
cooking it in 7-8 minutes. And
Wow.
it's a quick dinner once
Yeah.
you have everything ready. So
Okay.
it's not too much. And then I have here salt and pepper. Always make sure that you season your meat correctly, okay? Because otherwise then you do all the work and it's insipid. And people will tell you, oh, wish there was some salt on it. You know, appreciate the dinner, please.
This is speaking from experience, not in the hotel, of course.
No,
People
no, in
wouldn't
the
say
hotel,
that.
no, we season everything separately. Like, in a way, when you're cooking professionally, you cook just, you put seasoning just enough. Because then
Okay.
people will like to put pepper
Yeah.
or salt on it. And that's
course
up
they
to
do,
them, you
yeah.
know. You don't want to put them, and some people just put the pepper no matter what.
Oh, they don't, before they even taste it.
Exactly.
Yeah. They do
And then
actually, yeah.
They
Does
do,
that
they
annoy
do.
you?
I have to say, my brother used to do that. He used
Does
to put
he?
pepper everywhere, yeah.
Even though you'd already seasoned it?
Exactly, but it's a battle you lost at the beginning. So then you know it, and you're like, I won't put the pepper. Because he's gonna go put the pepper himself.
Okay, fair
So
enough.
I turn them over, and you can see that it's a little bit golden, okay? So then what you do is you get your lemons, okay, and you squeeze them. Try to squeeze them in your hand so you catch the seeds, and the seeds don't go inside. So then when you're eating it, you're not like, oh, a lemon seed.
Okay.
That's how we do in work too, or we squeeze it in advance, okay?
Yeah.
And I suggest for 4 chicken breasts like this, that it's 2 cut enough.
Okay.
Just 2 chickens, okay?
And
so
two lemons, sorry, did you say?
one or 2 lemons.
One or
you know?
two lemons,
I
okay.
put only 1 here.
Okay.
And that you can smell all the
flavor.
smell of and it's nice. And then just a little bit of white wine, okay?
And that deglazes the bottom, is it?
Yes. So that will remove all the little particles of meat that touch to the bottom of the pan, and it gives all the flavor to the sauce. Okay. Then I also put in just a little bit of water, not much, like 3 spoons of water, and then you cover it with your lid, okay?
Well, is there something in that water?
No, there was only water. There was a piece of lemon that I cut.
All right, so okay.
Okay? So you let it go like this, and you're gonna cook it for about 7 or 8 minutes. It's medium heat. If you have the lid, it's great because, you know, the steam comes in, steams inside, and it helps cook it. If I release this, I'm gonna have to cook for maybe 12 or 30 minutes. Instead, you know, the lid keeps all the heat inside.
And you're cooking the sauce right down?
You're cooking the sauce right down. So then what I did, obviously I have one ready, so and from the magic oven that I wish everybody had.
And you made earlier.
Okay, and it comes out a little bit different. So you have it like this. Now, I did some garnish, of course, and I put in a couple of spring onions, a little bit of chives, and I did a little bit of, you know, I cut the lemon in pieces.
Slices.
Exactly. So, you know, you want to serve the lemon, so you have the flavor, okay?
I used to love when I was a kid get lemon chicken in the Chinese restaurants.
Really?
Yeah, no.
Well, this wouldn't be the Chinese.
No, this would be a lot
but
nicer, yeah.
It'll be more Mediterranean.
But
you know,
this
more...
is, okay, so this is just really light, really fresh, really
exactly.
summery.
And I tell you, kids love stuff like this because it's... I always remember my kids would go around and lick the lemon.
My kids love eating lemon.
Yeah.
I know, it's so
and I'm
weird.
like, that'll make you bitter if you eat too much. Okay?
Exactly. It's too late.
And then you just take the sauce and you put it on top of your fillet of chicken.
And it's a bit thicker because you use the flour.
Exactly. And then you're reducing it down, okay?
I am definitely because my kids exactly love lemon.
Love lemon.
And then you can serve it with a couple of roasted potatoes, not much, you know?
Yeah.
So that will be a good breakfast/lunch for you, Brooke.
Yes, thank you so much.
She's been up since 2:30. She keeps telling us. Man, girl.
Keep telling everyone.
Tell you what, I thought I was bad. 2:30. Alberto Rossi
Now,
looks
you can do it with rice
fantastic.
if you want, you know, whatever suits
Yeah.
It smells
dinner, you know? But
incredible.
it's a nice one. And you can change and don't put the lemon and just do it with the white one. So then becomes scallopini al vino bianco.
Oh.
You know, so it's just different. You can have different flavors.
Yeah.
And it's nice and tender.
Oh, it's
so the kids are not there
tender.
saying, no, I don't like
that's
how
so
it's
yummy.
chewed. Because they just want to do one dinner.
Yeah.
That satisfies the adults and the kids.
I now see why you got lemon chicken in the Chinese. I don't think I've ever ordered lemon chicken. That's amazing.
That's it.
And the sauce on it is absolutely, it's just so summery for the
Exactly.
miserable weather
We are
outside,
trying to
yeah.
leave the summer, although the
Absolutely.
weather is not
Well, you've done a hell of a job.
cooperating,
Alberto
We have
Rossi
time.
from the Intercontinental Hotel, as always.
No problem at all.
Bellissimo.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Still to come, we are stealing the style of Blake Lively. I'll go. And we're getting a lesson in sexy history that they didn't teach you that in school. See you soon.
Welcome back. We're joined now by two sisters who, since starting a business together, have made it their mission to empower other female entrepreneurs.
Yes, that's right. The Flanta founders, Angelina Sheridan and Hope Hayes, are with us now.
Good
Welcome.
morning.
Thank you.
She's gone dairy in Dublin on the on that. Say it again.
I was like, is it Flanta or Flanta?
Flanta.
And I was like,
Flanta.
Flanta.
Yeah.
Flanta. Okay.
Flanta, yeah.
Angelina, tell us about Flanta. What is it?
So basically, about 2 or 3 years ago, me and Hope were literally just having a conversation and talking about the frustrations we had with handbags and that they were just like empty sacks. You throw all your stuff in, you can never find anything, everything's unorganised. And why is there not a better functional handbag? So we got going and designing our own functional handbags.
Because you were kind of office work, you had laptops, you had all this kind of stuff.
So
you had
we
kids.
were working together in an office and talking to other women. They travel with their laptops in and out. They're like have a school bag or they don't have a nice bag. So we wanted to make the perfect work bag.
A nice, stylish
so
bag. With your
has
laptop
your
and stuff.
laptop pocket, cup holders, everything that you would need going into the
So
office.
when you
today.
look in, you can actually see what's
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Look at that, guys. I'm giving a close up
what's
there.
there, guys.
Whenever I was in uni, I had one of those satchels that had a tie at the top.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It was
Oh,
yeah. It was
Why am I not surprised? She brings her makeup in a plastic bag, lads.
Oh, God.
a travel bag.
It's fine. So do you have... You've no background in design? Like you were working in an office?
No,
Not in design,
That's the
yeah.
absolute crazy thing. So we had no background in design or fashion or anything like that. We literally just learned. We had the idea and we were like, we'll learn as we go. We can do it. And
Angelina was working in social media and marketing and I was e-commerce. So then when the idea came, we were like, if we
could
learn
do
how
it.
to...
If we could get the bag up and going and the design and get on the manufacturing, we can do the business end of it and the marketing end of it. So
Now, I've no real awareness of what the design industry is like or the fashion industry. Were people welcoming to the idea of you coming in?
They were, and I think we were blessed with our manufacturer. They guided us, they helped us a lot. So it was a year and a half getting the full design and getting it made.
Yeah.
So it was a long process, but
Sounds really, really stressful. What was the biggest
God, it was so
challenge? Was
stressful.
it finding the manufacturer,
Yes.
or was it trying to organize when things would come in, or
definitely the
yeah.
manufacturer.
Yeah. By far was the hardest thing to find. It was just like that when you're starting, you don't know where to start with finding a manufacturer.
Because I can't even imagine. Like, I just can't go, Harry, I want to make a bag.
I know.
How do you do it?
That's literally how we started.
Like you
So,
say, you know, I always
Yeah.
see people come on here because we do a Virgin Media backing business thing, which is something that you're
Yeah,
involved
we're
in.
involved in that as
And
well.
I love when people, I'm just like, but how? I don't, like, literally
Yeah.
Google search.
Literally Google
That's how it
search.
started, and then talking to people, and yeah.
So tell us about the name, because it does sound like Slánta.
Yeah,
a
so
bit,
it has that
doesn't it?
kind of Irish twang to it, which we
Yeah.
kind of love. So Flanta is actually the Greek goddess of confidence. So like that, we knew we wanted.
She's gone.
I'm in. I want 10.
We knew we wanted like that strong, empowering like name, a strong women's name.
Yeah.
And as soon as we came across Flanta, we were like, it's the goddess, and it's the goddess of confidence, and that's what we really feel strongly about. Just empowering other women to just follow their dreams and just just do it. Vegan.
Yeah,
Completely vegan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well done.
That was definitely something that we were like, no.
That was,
I
yeah,
love
from the
products,
start. We knew we wanted a leather that felt like real leather, but we wanted it to be vegan.
As you've mentioned there, because there's a lot of enterprises in Ireland where women are starting up these businesses, which
Yes.
traditionally is a space we weren't entering, where we were working in them, but we weren't taking ownership over them, right? Your sisters, you'd worked together before, you decided to do this together.
Yeah.
How is that going? Is it a great support? Is it nice that you can shout at
Yes.
each other because you know each other so well?
Yeah,
Yeah, that is
definitely.
like-
I couldn't imagine doing it alone. I don't think I could.
Or with anybody else. Like, it was
Yeah.
kind of just...
And
It was
because
always gonna
we're
be together.
sisters, we can say, I don't like that, I don't want to do that. You can have those probably more open conversations.
Because it's 2020, is it 2023? Like, this is a new business.
Yeah,
October
just last
last
October.
year, so 10 months ago.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and it's kind of just, it's taken off a lot faster than we thought.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
We've sold to like 16 countries worldwide, from America to Saudi Arabia, like
Yeah.
crazy. Like, it's just been madness. Like,
And now you are sisters, I'm sure that is challenging as well. But starting the business, Virgin Media back in business had a big part to play. Like, how did that happen?
so we went to a networking event back in February, was it, of this
I think
year?
so, yeah.
And that's when we heard about the back in business and with Virgin Media, and it's brilliant. So like that, they do webinars on different things. Like, so my first one would have been networking, because everyone says we start a business, network, and we're like, what's that mean?
is that?
Yeah, what does that mean?
What does that mean? So
What does it mean?
Yeah.
no, I
Still don't know. I should have asked that.
no.
Virgin Media people like we're now, but it's just you meet other people in business and you're like, how are you? How are you doing?
And literally, like when I did the webinar back in business, and they just simplified it, and it isn't like it's a word put out there that you think you're supposed to understand, but it's literally just communicating with other people and putting yourself in positions to be able to communicate with other people. So, and the webinars, they do like live chats, so you can chat to other people that are in the same position as you, starting up a business and have the same questions as you. So it's a great community to get involved in.
It's nice because it is all about entrepreneurship. So how was it 10 months ago?
Yeah. 10 months ago.
So you've got your lovely bags, they're coming in, you're selling them to other
So
countries,
this bag
e-commerce.
only launched today, the tan.
Oh, look at that, tan.
So we
Also
had
what I'm
the
wearing.
taupe and the black, and this tan one just launched today. So that's
it's all about
great.
laptops.
That's
Yeah.
it, you.
Has the laptop pocket, bottle holders inside.
I'll pretend I use a laptop.
Sleeve on the back.
Yeah, I know how to use a laptop. So with all this kind of stuff, and you kind of diversified into all this stuff. How's it going? You good?
Yeah.
New business?
Really, like, good, yeah.
Love it.
Love it?
Yeah.
Next
Where can
step.
people find you?
Flanta.ie.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that.
It is.
Flanta.ie. Angelina and Hope, thank you both so much.
Thank you.
We really,
Thank you
really
so
appreciate
much.
it. Thank you so much. Now, let's go over to Tommy Bow. I'll bring you over a bag, Bow.
Thank you very much. Yeah, bring me the tan one. That definitely think would suit my style. All right. We have an awful lot of texts coming through, so I think it's really important to get through it. We were actually just speaking to influencer Rachel Gorry, who lost her husband to cancer when they're both just 29, and of course Anne-Marie Ward from the Irish Cancer Society Night Nurses. It was an incredible interview with Rachel, just hearing what she went through, how amazing Anne-Marie was. And Linda just said, we had a night nurse in her home for the last week of my daughter's life. They were amazing before she passed 5 years ago. She was one of the first children to be allowed to pass away at home with her family in the Midwest. And it was with the help of these wonderful night nurses they made the last week with our daughter so memorable. And on the night that she passed away, they were so supportive to us as a family. We have only happy memories of that last night now. And it's all down to the wonderful, calm atmosphere that they've created. We will never forget Anne, our night nurse. And this, angels. And of course, there is the Boots night walk coming up, bootsnightwalk.com, if you want to go and help support those night nurses.
And Linda, I'm so sorry for your loss. I just can't believe you've had to go through something like that with the child. Louise, we had a night nurse from my mum last October. She was an angel sent to us. She cared for my mum on her final night at home, and she kept us informed and calm. That's the word used again and again, and was so gentle with our mum. They are such special people. So thank you for these wonderful messages. And again, the Irish Cancer Society do such an amazing job that the government can't do.
And
they
takes
provide
so
a huge
much
service.
pressure off the health service, which we are saying is under so much pressure and stress at the minute as well. Another area that's going to be under a huge amount of pressure and stress, according to the Department of Finance, is pensions and how we're going to fund them in years to come. And we are asking people about rising the cost or the age of our pensions. It's the front of the Daily Mail this morning. And people aren't quite too happy about it.
And understandably so. This is from Anne. Anne says she's 74 and still working. You cannot live on the pension alone. I would love to retire but cannot afford to. I've heard that so much. You actually can't. And also with the private pension, what you pay in is what you get at the end. And
but people haven't gotten private pensions, you know, because you don't think about these things when you're younger.
Well, you're told over and over again, but people are trying so hard to get onto the property ladder that they're saving up for property as opposed to going saving for pension. And then when you have to take the state pension, you can't live off it because it's so little. Patricia said, I am a plasterer and have been for 35 years. There is no way I could work until I'm 67 to
Because it's
retire.
back-breaking work. For some people, it's such back-breaking work.
What do you do? Like, this is the question, that the government are at a stage where they won't be able to afford, with the ageing population, they're not going to be able to afford to do this.
Do you have a pension, Brooke?
I don't. I actually only paid my taxes for the first time this year. I'm only starting to grow up now. It's an awful experience. Really bad.
Paying taxes. Brutal.
Yeah, wow, that was a shock. That was a shock.
I have to say,
whatever came in, I spent, and you know, it was an awful time to.
That must have been a lovely bill. You were like, sorry.
I like this one. I agree with the increase in age. Working a few extra years can help with your health. And get you involved in activities. So I think it's a good thing too.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from 0896 111 111.
Now, still to come, how you can look like Blake Lively without a Gossip Girl pay packet.
And 12 years after the finale of Desperate Housewives, Eva Longoria is back on the screen. We're going to be looking ahead to the best on the telly. We'll see you back here very shortly on Ireland AM. They came in on the high bit there. I thought it was going to be a lower bit. That's a bit of Ireland's most famous buskers to kickstart your morning if you're heading to Coldplay's first night at Croke Park tonight. You're one of 300,000 people seeing them live across the weekend, and we hope that you have an absolutely brilliant time. You are, of course, watching Ireland AM. It's lovely to have you with us, and still to come, the weird, wonderful and varied spectrum of human sexuality throughout the ages. We're getting a history lesson in all things sex. If it's something that you think your little ones might not like, they're at school, or they're gone back to school, it should be okay. It's coming up at 9:15. Brooke is on the catwalk. What's coming up there, Brooke?
Good morning. Now, we're all chatting everything Blake Lively and how to look like her, minus a Deadpool on your arm, of course. Justine King joins us now.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So it's all about Blake Lively and her It Ends With Us promo tour wardrobe. She's getting a lot of attention for good reasons and bad reasons. We're taking our favourite of her looks. Blake Lively does not have a stylist. She's one of the only celebrities in Hollywood, so she does style herself, but she styles herself very well at times, and that's what we're taking from. A lot of floral, a lot of fun, a lot of maximalist dressing.
So her character is called Bloom and then ends with us. That's why she went for a lot of floral patterns.
Yes, Lily Bloom.
Lily
she owns
Bloom.
a flower shop. Yeah.
There you go. It's beautiful and very striking. Now, Tommy is going over to the movies.
Sure, thank you very much. I'm very interested, Justine. So dress yourself out sometimes, not all the time.
Honestly, we are honest.
Find out a little bit more about that a little bit later on. But Brian Lloyd is here to give us a lowdown on what's to watch this weekend on the telly and the big screen. Some good things.
Yes, really good things. So there is Sing Sing. That's in cinemas. That's basically, it's the start of the Oscar season. Very, very much so. Yeah, that's definitely going to be in the Oscars. On TV, there is Lord of the Rings of Power. The second season of that is starting on Amazon Prime crime. And then Only Murders in the Building season 4. With Meryl Streep and Martin Short and Steve
Very
Martin
good. Looking forward to that as well. The Oscar-worthy movie, though, at cinema, is it?
That's in the cinemas this Friday,
This Friday as well. OK, Brian Hyde will catch up with you a little bit later on.
Welcome back. It is lovely to have you here. And this fella's looking down and look, he's raising the eyebrow to text. What are we talking about, Brooke?
Well, we were talking about the retirement age, and everyone was getting involved saying if they personally think that they should get, what is it, there's all of their retirement fund.
They're thinking about increasing the retirement age.
Yes.
We have to increase the retirement age in Ireland because we're
living longer.
We're long.
Yes, we're
a lot longer.
A lot longer.
Yeah.
So that's what the situation is.
Our average age at the moment for a male is around 80. For women, I think it's around 84, 85. You compare that to the 80s, I think the average age was maybe about 72. So we're living an awful lot longer, but the pension age that we get our pension is still pretty much the same.
Yeah.
And of course, we would all love to get paid and retire a lot earlier, but if we're living longer, it's going to cost a lot more.
Some people like to keep on working.
Well,
you know, my dad retired, but he went back to work. He was like, he loved working. My mother worked until she was well into her 70s.
Yeah.
But for some people, they love it. Some people don't.
But to have the choices, obviously, would be ideal.
Yeah.
But people have been getting in touch. So Lewis said, I would love to see the people get the state pension at the earlier age of 63 years old, as I personally think it would help people to enjoy earlier retirement. Well, I agree with you, Lewis.
I know, but who's going to pay for it?
Well, yeah, and we had messages earlier on from people because obviously the cost of living crisis that we're currently going through, the state pension doesn't cover an awful lot of people's, and we're going to have a rent crisis as well because older people are living in rented accommodation, so we're not going to have as much accommodation for people in the future. It's all connected.
Fewer and fewer people are paying for their own private pension as well, so they're going to be relying an awful lot more on the public pension. And of course, there's so many, this whole baby boomer generation coming through. There's a lot less children out there who are going to be able to pay for it. So they're going to have to make a change at some stage.
Auto-enrolment is coming in for pensions. So they are bringing in auto-enrolment for it. But what does Angela say,
Angela
Tommy?
says, a very fair point, I think that people should have the option to retire at the age of 60, especially in burnout jobs like teaching.
Do you think that that's right, Tommy?
Listen, if Angela feels that she would love to retire at 60, good on you,
To be fair, being a teacher, couldn't do it.
I could not.
Fair play to every single person who is a teacher. Could not. Would you do it?
Would I teach? No, of course not. I have huge respect for teachers and the people that the teachers look after my kids. Fair play to you, but they also had 3 months off over the summer. But I thought I did well with a month.
And Veronica says, spending your whole life working and then being too old to enjoy retirement. A big no. Like, that is crap, isn't it?
It is awful.
You start working when you're 15 years old.
Yeah.
And then next thing, it's like you've got a year and then off you go.
Yeah. Oh, listen, we have an awful lot of text coming through and it's very varied as well. So thank you so much for getting in touch.
We've got something very different coming up. If you've got small ears, it mightn't be for them. Up next, Esme Louise James on blending education and entertainment in her Kinky History series. It is incredibly interesting, entertaining, but if you want to... Yeah, it is actually very funny. We'll be back very shortly on Ireland AM.
Come on.
Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you and me. Let's talk about all the
I haven't heard that song in years.
He just sat up and went...
You're very welcome back. Yes, the kids are back to school, so we are free to talk about sex, historical sex. But here's your warning: get them out of the room if they're not in school, which they probably should be.
Yeah, you mightn't want them to overhear anything. But here to talk all things history and sex is sex historian Esme Louise James. Good morning, Esme. How are you?
Good morning. I am so excited to be here.
It is so fantastic. Your job is sex historian. We're talking about kids going to college at the moment, all this kind of stuff. How did you become a sex historian?
Well, I went to university originally to study the history of religion. So I think this is testament to how off track that initial plan went. But there is definitely a bit of a Venn diagram between the study of religion and sexuality and experiences that bring people together, and I veered off pretty quickly. I did everything I wasn't meant to at university, basically.
So in trying to find out about the Kinky History, the name of your new book, where do you find the material and the information?
I'm very lucky that there's obviously a great tradition of historians who've done incredible work. And a lot of these stories come from the margins of history books, those little pieces that we don't focus on as much. It comes from letters and diaries from these great historical figures that if you go through them with fine-tooth pen, you know, you find the kinky erotic parts.
Because it's not like sex is new. We're all here for millions of years for a reason. So this sort of fascination with sexuality, what people could do, pleasure, it goes back millennia.
Well, we wouldn't have a history otherwise, really.
Yeah.
Which is such a fascinating part of, you know, we speak about so many other aspects about what it means to be human, and sex is such an integral part of that. And there's a great disservice we do to understanding the human experience if we don't speak about this part and how it can influence us.
Okay, well, let's go back, because this was news to me. The oldest sex toy is older than the creation of writing.
It is.
So the pen was used before the pen was used for...
We have priorities.
Okay, what was the first
The pen
sex
isn't
toy?
mightier than something else, I'll tell you.
The oldest sex toy that we know to date is now 28,000 years old.
And that's it. We have a picture of it there.
It is quite a wonderful discovery. You can see there it's, you know, quite phallic in shape, a ring at the top, and in the quote from the research study, it said it was highly polished at the top from overuse. And if that's not the most fabulous phrase I've ever read in a research paper. And, you know, this isn't the only one we found from the ancient world. We have ones 10,000 years ago. It wasn't a German cave.
Yeah.
But don't worry, we've found some on Irish soil, so you're part of the long-standing history of the dildo.
Hey, we like to be... Brooke's over there going, yeah. We like to claim things as our own. I never thought we'd be claiming the dildo.
No, absolutely not.
Fantastic.
Well, tell us about Irish history, sex history.
Well, as I've been walking around Dublin over the last few days, I feel like it's a disservice not to talk about one of my favourite figures of all time, Mr. James Joyce, who features quite heavily in kinky history.
Really?
He does, because obviously, you know, we're so proud and like to venerate the work such as Dubliners and Ulysses. But James Joyce is also very talented at writing a series of erotic letters to his wife. And what makes these so amusing to undergraduate students, they're not your kind of typical erotic letters. He has a reverence for his wife's backside, namely the sounds and smells that she can produce from it. So we have a series of letters by James Joyce in which he is describing how much he desires the girlish farts that go pop, pop, pop out of her girlish bum. And
no way.
Absolutely. And he goes into great detail about the different kinds of sounds and smells that she can produce. And, you know...
Nora Barnacle from Galway. Fair play to Nora.
Tell you what, romance is alive and well in our house, and
I can only assume that this was where Ed Sheeran's Galway Girl was about Nora Barnacle.
I'm sorry. I'm wondering who you're talking about with the pop, pop, pop in your house. Okay, you better say it to you very quickly.
He's pretending not to really know James Joyce's letters, but he's has them memorised.
Say it again. What's that quote? It's quite beautiful.
Nora, the big fat fellows, the long windy ones, the girlish farts that go pop, pop, pop out of your girlish bomb. I hope that you let off no end of farts so I may always know their smell.
Wow. There you go.
That was beautiful. Beautiful.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah, they have it.
It's funny.
It's
you know,
funny.
it is, and it's an integral part of who we are. Right?
Absolutely. And I think, you know, that's one thing that we've really kind of lost in this moment in history, that James Joyce, when he is writing these erotic letters, at the same time, there's a kind of joy and silliness that happens. And he's not the only figure. You know, Mozart writes endless canons and songs also about the joys of the backside. And they're all done very tongue-in-cheek. You know, there is a sense of fun about how silly... I love your face. Right?
Tongue-in-cheek.
But
Which cheeks? I don't know, but...
But do you know what? Like, these were like private letters to his wife, talking about her farts.
Yes.
Like, do you know, maybe they didn't want the public to know this stuff.
No, I think when they were sold to Cornell University in 1957, there was a bit of a shock and horror when they were initially published.
Yeah.
And I think and I speak about this at kind of length in the book. What does it mean when a great historical figure who, we see as this kind of mastermind genius, and we talk about this part of this silly erotic part of who they are. And I think there's something that doesn't detract from how incredible this person is, but it reminds us that they were human too. And that you have this sense of sexuality and joy and pleasure that's so integral to every single part of who we are.
In the book, you cover so much and the historical nature of it, but of course, pornography, consent, is such a huge part of today's conversation and what's happening.
Absolutely.
It's all tied up with history as well, though, because porn isn't anything new.
No, not at all. And I think that's a very common misconception that we have. But my PhD really focused on how pornography first emerged in the 18th century as a literary genre. And one of the things that when we start writing pornography in the form of pamphlets and smutty novels, one of the things about it is that it always used to be very political. It was about describing authorities and, famously the French Revolution. Marie Antoinette was such a common target of pornographic pamphlets. And it was about critiquing authority, about making a political statement through bawdy, silly, pornographic media. And what I think
it's like now with AI, how they kind of take a woman's power away by creating a pornographic image.
Absolutely. Wow. And there's still so much that I think, when we have in these modern conversations about AI and the effects of revenge porn, that we still need to learn from history. Because if that's how the genre began, and this is how it's still being used, what can we do differently to stop this from happening to, women especially who are part of this target?
Tell you what, everything's happened before, isn't it?
Yeah,
it follows history. You wrote this new book, Kinky History, with your mum.
I did.
Australians, I love you. You're mad.
How was that?
It is one of the greatest privileges of my life to get to write a book such as Kinky History alongside my mum. And when I talk about the most amusing dinner conversations you can have at the family dinner table, it's right in this book. The messages that I would get from my mother being like, "Hi, honey, what are you doing today? I'm looking at fart letters. What about you?" Very out of context letters that I would get from my mother. But so she worked on a lot of the contemporary research that's in the book. She's a statistician and I'm incredibly proud of her. And the point about putting this together is that if you're going to have conversations about history and what we need to learn today, we have to put the present into that conversation.
So did you talk about sex with your mum?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you imagine writing a book called Kinky History and not talking about sex?
I know, but it's not a bit awkward, no?
No, I think at the start, it is very awkward. We've now worked together for really about 4 years in this area. We've did a series with Screen Australia called Sextistics, all about looking at how statistics can tell us about our sexual identity behaviour today. And when you initially start this conversation with anyone, there is this sense of awkwardness and this sense of kind of breaking down the boundaries. But I'm really proud that we've been able to practice what we preach. If we're saying that talking about sex is important and we need to be vulnerable, we're able to also do that through the process of writing this book about our stuff on social media. And it's just made this really joyful, productive relationship.
You are a joyful human being. The book is called Kinky History. This is by Esme Louise James, and you are taking part in the Kink Live event with our very own Jenny Keane tonight at the Sugar Club. Tickets are sold out, though. Obviously.
They are. I'm sorry.
Obviously.
Really? What would we talk? What do
they talk about? I wonder.
It's closed room. We can't tell you.
Right.
I hope. Do you know what? Jenny always makes them go red, and so have you. So I hope you chat about that a little bit. This is the name of the book. You have been an utter joy. Pop, pop, pop. Pop, 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 pop.
I know. Tell you what, they're all human at the end of the day, isn't that right? Nice to know. Esme Louise James, thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me.
Pop, 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 Blake Lively? Wonder does she pop, pop, pop?
We all do.
We'll be finding out in fashion, yeah.
And we're going to find out what's in the cinema as well. Also,
we'll stop
come
there.
here now and then.
Yeah, talk to you in a minute. Welcome back. Now, you may have seen, because it's been everywhere, that actor Blake Lively, she has been going flaunting the florals on the press tour of her new movie, inspiring fans, and starting an online trend.
Now, here to show us how we and everybody can use that, well, without a celebrity stylist, because she doesn't use a celebrity stylist. There you go. Justine King is here. But first, let's check out why Blake is constantly finding herself on the best dressed lists around the globe.
Now, that is fabulous, Blake Lively. Justine King, it's lovely to have you here. Florals. Look at it.
I didn't even realise.
She didn't even know.
I did, sorry, I did know.
She did know. She'd read her briefs. We're not here to discuss the politics, the drama, or anything around it. It ends with us. We're just doing the fashion, and it's all about the florals.
Yes, Lily Bloom is the name of her character in the movie. So she has gone with that. You'll see some of our looks, I've kind of taken it and not done such a floral thing, 'cause florals aren't for everyone.
They're not for everyone. So we're going to take it. We've got a picture of our first look. That's our inspiration today.
So Blake is wearing a vintage Vivienne Westwood dress that's actually from 2004. And as you can see, she went very much heavy on the maximalist accessories. It's quite early 2000s. Her layered up bracelets, chunky earrings, chunky ring, and then her floral beautiful dress.
Gorgeous. And Hannah is here with your version of the look.
Yes. So we've got a paired back dress, and then again, we've gone heavy with the accessories. I'll start with the dress. This one is from Irish brand On Trend, and it's got that beautiful drape neckline, very flattering. It's a really comfortable dress. That's what Hannah's been saying backstage to wear. There's no zips or buttons or anything. You just pop it on over the head. It does come in a small up to a large, so it's not a one size, but it does have that elasticated waist as well. So this would just kind of work for anything, wouldn't it? It's kind of a wedding, any kind of, you know, nice end of summer occasions that you might have. It's an easy, classic kind of dress.
It's gorgeous.
And it definitely has that retro feel. The fact that Blake was wearing a vintage dress, this one could be from kind of any era as well.
We've been staring at one thing, haven't we?
The shoes.
Yeah, the shoes are incredible, aren't they? So all of our shoes today are from Prego Shoe Boutique. So they're in Galway and they're online. That beautiful abstract heel, the platform, and then the little peep toe. 'Cause Blake also had the kind of peep toe super high heel too.
Amazing.
But they have the cushioned insole too. So although they're super high, they do have the platform and the cushioned insole. So Hannah was saying they are comfortable to wear.
Now, the jewellery actually really stands out on this one.
Yes. We'll start with those earrings. This is all from Corona Silver, so an Irish jewellery brand that are stocked across the country. This one has a little bit of floral, so bringing that into the jewellery, and the beautiful green Swarovski stone in that too. And then our bracelet here.
Give me the bracelet.
It's so you. This oversized, chunky curb bracelet. There's a lovely weight to it. It's 18 karat gold plated. And then for me, my eye is just on that ring. That is, again, a Swarovski stone. And that one is adjustable as well, that ring. So it means you can wear it in your middle finger like that, or your ring finger or anything.
Hannah, get the whole look. It's amazing on you. Oh my God, you look fantastic. Thank you so much. Oh, Justine, this is... I'm going to murder you. We're going to look our second look today. Now, this was all the headlines.
This is Britney wearing it back in 2002 because it is from Versace Fall 2002. Blake wore it now. So, as we say, she doesn't have her own stylist. So, was she looking through the archives and picking out, that's what I want to wear? Who knows? But this is a tough one to wear. So, we've gone for something that may be a little bit easier to wear. I'm kind of thinking Deb season is coming up. This would be a lovely one for Deb season. The shorter style. This one, again, this one's from My Kind of Dress, so Irish online brand. It comes in pink and in blue, which Blake's dress had the pink and the blue shimmer going through it too. It has that kind of overlay and then the corseted kind of bodice, and then it has a lace-up back as well. So this one is beautiful even because it kind of, the undertone blends into Yumiko's skin tone.
Yeah.
You're just really seeing the glitter stand out. But you could go for the pink or the blue if you wanted something a bit more...
Very Deb season. Perfect for Deb season.
Perfect.
Or even college balls or whatever. So
totally. And I think the shorter length, they do have a kind of a longer version as well, but that shorter length is a little bit more wearable. But yeah, totally. As you say, college balls, fun party dress.
shoes.
Now, we were talking about this earlier. We mix our golds and silvers.
Love it.
But I've never seen it done
with the dress and the shoes.
Before.
Yeah, I kind of feel all of Blake's looks have a lot of fun with she didn't have a lot of rules to her looks. So going for the really glitzy on the shoe too, but going for that silver. Again, these have a lot of kind of straps, so they are comfortable. They're that same brand, Marion. And then they have that chunky platform sole as well. So they are the super high.
Jewellery?
The jewellery brought the colours from Blake's dress into our jewellery here. So we've got the blues, the kind of aqua and the pink stone, and then into the necklace again. That's a beautiful Swarovski stone with that little swirl detail, and that does come in the green and in the blue, or in another pink as well.
Gorgeous, Yumiko, you look fantastic. This is amazing.
Shimmering away there.
Now, the next look that we have is Blake to a T. The inspiration is Blake in a suit.
Yes, so this is from the Stella McCartney Resort 2025 collection. Very oversized suit. Her one, of course, has the kind of floral embroidery going on with it, and she wore nothing underneath. We've taken it for something the way ourselves and the viewers might wear it.
Yeah. I had to pick more in the jaw.
Sorry, this is amazing.
And I didn't go for floral with this one because I think you'd get one or two wears out of the floral, whereas a classic cream suit like this. Amazing. This one's from Nicola Ross in Nice. They have 2 boutiques in Nice. The most beautifully cut suit. They do it in a whole range of colours. So if the cream isn't for you, they have pink, red, black, beige, purple, navy. Yeah, all sorts of colours in this because they just found a beautiful classic cut.
And Sarah is tall, so those are long trousers.
Yeah. So they obviously, could be taken up to size for someone who's a little bit shorter. Beautiful waistcoat as well. I love the look of kind of the waistcoat worn with jeans and things at the moment. You don't have to wear it with the full suit. Again, that's fully lined, really well tailored. And then the pants as well are just a great fit. They're the kind of mid rise, wide leg. They all come in a small up to a double XL. So there's a really nice size inclusive range for this from Kate and Pippa, and they have front pockets as well on those trousers. So it's just a great suit you'd have in your wardrobe forever.
Fabulous. Shoes, white shoes.
Kept it classic with the shoes here, just the cream little ones there. Those are 100% leather. So they're a really beautiful shoe. A kind of a modest heel compared to what we were seeing in the other ones. But these are great with that kind of longer pant suit length. And then they have the soft gel insole as well, so they are super comfy too. So then I picked up the colours that were going through her suit with the embroidery is what I've gone for in the jewellery here, those kind of greens. Starting off with the earrings, so they are 18 carat gold plated, and then they have the drop crystal, and then we've gone for the matching necklace with that kind of teardrop pendant as well.
They're stunning.
Beautiful, Sarah. Absolutely. That is a gorgeous, gorgeous suit.
And you don't need anything else with it. You just have that little bit of colour going through the jewellery, and then
you're knocking it out of the park so far. So we've got this is Blake in a
so this is, I guess, a little bit more of her autumn winter. Blake has got a crystallised kind of black dress. She went for just the bandeau bra. Again, we've done it more for the Ireland AM viewer and ourselves. We mightn't want the bra look.
How dare you?
Yeah, so we've gone for this gorgeous lace shirt dress. Again, this one is from Nicola Ross in Nice, and then we've gone for that kind of crystallised beaded detail in our jewellery instead of on the dress. So this is a really nice one coming up to party season. You could wear this with your black tights if you wanted. You could wear it, with a different colour underneath because the slip is sold with it, but it is detached.
Okay.
And then it has the little ruffle detail down the front, so it's really flattering down the front. I could see this one like coming into Christmas. You could really get your wear out of it over the next few months.
Absolutely.
I was thinking Christmas.
The shoes you're kind of picking up on the Christmassy theme with the shoes, a bit of red in them.
Yes, so these are from the winter collection, which is coming soon to the website for Prego, they wanted to say, but the crystal detail at the front looks like a pair of lips, I think, doesn't it? Yeah, with the red little crystal detail, and that's why we've gone for that in our accessories too. It's got the abstract heel again, and then just the nice pointed quirt, and they are 100% leather suede as well.
Gorgeous.
So then our jewellery, we've gone for that green that she had in her dress. In our earrings there, first of all, so these are the cat's eye gemstones with the 18 carat gold plated. So that kind of double drop gemstone, and they come in red, in blue and in white as well. And then the necklace is a handmade piece. Beautiful tassel detail. It catches in the light so beautifully. It would just dress up any kind of neckline, wouldn't it? Even a plain t-shirt.
You'd wear this
little bag. I was just saying, I was literally, my eye is on that massively.
That one is from Dream Sister Jane. So you can get that on ASOS. It would fit basically nothing, but sure, look, it's more about what it looks like, isn't it? And yeah, so it's bringing in all those colours to her black dress.
People carry Brooks things for her. She just has, she doesn't need, she's got people for that. That's fine.
Tommy, get me my
Give me my tea. Can you read my wallet, please, Tommy?
Thank you. You're doing such a good job.
Justine King knocked that out of the park.
Thank you.
Gorgeous stuff today. Thank you so much.
Brilliant.
Fabulous. You're going to rip that bag off someone.
I am. If it's going, I'll take it.
She'll take it. Tommy will carry it.
Thank you, Tommy.
Coming up next, we've got rumoured romances, deep dramas, and a brand new take on a cult classic in our movie slot. We'll talk to you shortly on Ireland AM.
Hello, you're very welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. Now, from a star-filled series to a heartfelt prison drama, there's plenty to add to the viewing list this weekend.
That's right. Now, Brian Lloyd joins us now with his verdict on the latest releases. Good morning.
Morning.
Feeling
Good
positive?
to see you,
Yes, really great week. Really great
to
week.
look forward to this weekend. Very excited. We'll start off with season 2 of Lord of the Rings, the Rings of Power.
Yeah, so this is the second season of the Amazon Prime series. This is set thousands of years before the events of the films. It basically follows the idea of how they created the Rings of Power, which gave, like, you know, the elves and the dwarves, and I can just see the light leaving your eyes.
No, I love it, but we do have a clip, so we're going to watch
go for the
it
clip.
first.
Let's watch the clip.
This is the work of Sauron.
Our armies cannot defeat him. Once the deceiver obtains a being's trust, he gains the ability to sculpt their very thoughts. You are wise to fear these rings.
It's available to stream on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I liked it. I really liked it. I mean, it's yes, it is kind of fantasy, and people look at this and think, oh, it's just another Game of Thrones. It's a lot more poetic. It has a lot more scape and kind of like scale to it. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I think it's really well acted. There's a big Irish contingent in it as well. Kieran Hines comes into it in this season. He plays this character called the Dark Wizard, but we think maybe it's possibly Saruman.
Okay.
But yeah, if you enjoyed the Lord of the Rings films, I think you're definitely going to enjoy this.
Question. I love Tolkien. I love Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Didn't like The Hobbit.
Really?
No, not at all.
Yeah, I get that.
Do you like that? Like, do you?
Oh yeah, no. I mean, you need to. I would say you need to have seen the first season of it, and like it does those like kind of recaps like previously on. You will need to be watching them because there are so many characters involved in it.
What do you give it?
Like 3.5 out of 5. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
It's an improvement on the first season. If you haven't seen the first season, this is an improvement.
Okay, very good. Look, enjoying that. Only Murders in the Building. This has been really serious, particularly all the cameos you've had. It's on to season 4 now.
It's on to season 4, yeah. So if you haven't followed this, it's essentially about a podcast. Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez live in this building in New York, and each season they're trying to solve a murder that's played out over all the episodes. This season, however, it turns out that the podcast has now been turned into a film. So you have Ava Longoria, Eugene Levy, and Zach Galifianakis playing themselves, but they're playing the people from the podcast as they try to investigate a murder.
Okay,
Let's watch a little clip of that.
A Hollywood studio. Want us to make a movie of our podcast?
This script is amazing.
Oliver flits around the room a septuagenarian Peter Pan or a male Tinkerbell.
I do not walk that way.
Okay, podcasters, we have a fabulous cast.
I'm Eugene Levy.
I'm Eva Longoria.
Oliver, this is Zach Galifianakis.
Oh, yes, Zach Galifianakis, of course. I see what you're doing.
I happen to have started the second highest grossing comedy of all time. Are you the little boy from Home Alone? What have they done to you?
Like Martin Short, like that's like it is like kind of yes, it's a murder mystery, but it's also a comedy because if you look at Steve Martin and Martin Short, and Meryl Streep is in it as well. She was in the previous season, and there was a bit of a love interest.
Bit of a history with her, something going on.
Yeah,
with
so
Martin Short
there's been rumours that apparently Meryl Streep and Martin Short got together on the set of the third season, and they have a bit of a romance going on. Now her rep has denied all this.
Okay.
I will say, I think they look good together.
Yeah, I like it.
You know that kind of way you see a couple like that and they just look
Makes
like
sense.
it
It's
makes
hated
sense.
one
Yeah.
got killed off in it, but it is a bit of a whodunit. Very successful season 4 on Disney Plus. Good, yeah.
Yeah, really enjoyed it. Yeah,
again.
4 out of 5. Yeah, definitely.
4 out of 5.
Oh, it's really good. Yeah, no.
I've never seen it.
Yeah, it's go back and watch the first season of it.
I would never jump in at season 4.
Oh no, you couldn't. No, you need to go. But again, the 4 seasons or the 3 seasons leading up to it, they're all worth
funny,
watching.
very clever as well. Okay, let's move on to this one. Sing Sing, a new movie in cinemas, I presume, and it's not an animation.
Not an animation. No, everyone thought it was like, is it like that? You know, like the singing comedy thing? No, it's not that at all. So this is a drama. It's set in the Sing Sing prison, which is a maximum security prison in New York, and it's essentially about a group of inmates who take part in this thing called the rehabilitation through the arts program, essentially like theatre program. So it's them putting on production. It's all about them learning their lines. You might think that's a bit dry, and you're thinking a bit like, where is that? But it's really, really brilliant.
Okay, let's take a quick look. We have a little clip.
This is a clemency hearing for your conviction, 25 to life. Since you've been in custody, you've been involved in the theater program.
Gentlemen, let's go. It's been a program that was established to help people get more in touch with their feelings and truly get some rehabilitation.
I am Gladiator Goliath. I am Spartacus.
I'm Prince Hamlet of Denmark.
What part do you play?
From time to time, I do act, like we all do.
So are you acting at all during this interview?
Oh, this looks good. Oscars buzz.
Definitely Oscar buzz around this. The best way I could compare this to is like, imagine Dead Poets Society mixed with Shawshank Redemption. That's kind of what they're going for. It's this idea of like, yeah, I know.
Classics.
Yeah, I can see Murren's face just was like, that's exactly what this reminded me of. Like Dead Poets Society, the idea of like how art can actually shape a person and make them whole. And especially in like this, the fact that it's set in prison where, you know, they have to shut down parts of themselves. They really have to hide their humanity. The idea is that by learning about themselves, they learn through art, they learn how to reconnect their humanity. Coleman Domingo is probably going to get nominated for Best Actor in this. I would say this will be in Best Picture contention.
Wow.
It's brilliant.
Wow.
It's National Cinema Day this weekend as well. The cinemas tickets are a $5, so go see that if you can. It's absolutely
really?
worth it.
Okay, National Cinema Day. It's out on Friday?
It's out on Friday. The National Cinema Day is on Saturday. All cinema tickets are €5 in participating cinemas. So go see that.
5 out of 5 you give this.
Yes.
Brilliant.
Brian,
Wowie.
brilliant. Thank you so much.
Brian Lloyd, as always, thank you so much for that. 3 really classic ones today for us. Murren, what have we got coming up on tomorrow's show?
I'm still on that moment where she says to Coleman Domingo, so are you acting in this interview? That looks amazing. Thank you, Brian. Now, coming up tomorrow on Ireland AM, it has been 10 years since he hit our screens as Moon Boy. Now he's a fully fledged Moon Man. Actor David Rawle will be here.
Looking forward to that. Plus, songstress Roisin O is going to talk about new music, collaborating with her musical family, and a very exciting engagement.
And if you feel the adult special time in your relationship is gone, we have advice on that.
Oh, listen. Advice on that conversation, is that right? Brooke, you'd be tuning
My
in.
adult special time.
The way she said, gone.
I know, I put that there. Hopefully it's not.
Hopefully it's not all that. Plus a chicken stroganoff. Come on, that's grand.
Num num.
That costs only €1 per portion. That's
€1
Do you know what? Professionals will be here tomorrow
it.
morning at 7 a.m. on Ireland AM. Talk to you soon.
later.
Bye.
Cheers. Have a great week.
Bye.